Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm David Height from Late Night with David Height. So we've been doing a lot of funny jokes in here and some things that aren't so serious, but now we're going to turn to something that's a little more serious. Recently we've had some Board of Ed meetings that have caused a lot of controversy within our community, and here to discuss them, we have our field reporter, Ben Weiss. Before he comes on, we're going to show a quick clip of his field reporting and what he did at the most recent Board of Ed meeting. Let's take a look.
Good evening. My name is Ben Weiss. I'm the investigative reporter for Late Night with David Height, and we're here today at Meeting House Hill School for the Board of Ed meeting. This is a very important meeting for the Board of Education. There's been a lot of controversy lately concerning the superintendent, Dr. Alicia Roy. Tonight's a very big night. Tonight, the Board of Ed votes on whether or not to renew Dr. Roy's contract. So a large contingent of protesters has gathered outside Meeting House here. There's been a lot of anger in the community lately towards Dr. Roy for her handling of school services, especially special ed, as well as her usage of money and the expenditure of money and the fact that there isn't a lot of transparency in the system. So we're going to go out and we're going to interview some protesters. We're hopefully going to get a few exclusives with board members and hopefully Dr. Roy herself. So we're here outside Meeting House. Not sure the protest is formed up yet. We're gonna go inside, have a look around, and see what the deal is. So we're inside the school. We think that the protest is going to take place outside the multi-purpose room, which is where the meeting is going to take place tonight. So we're gonna go there. We're gonna see if we can talk to a few people. We're not really sure where the location of the protest is going to be, but we really want to get there and talk to some protesters beforehand, because we're really interested in their opinion. For a movement that's been so vocal on social media, the physical protest was hard to find. Eventually, I found some angry townspeople congregated in front of the school that I could talk to. I had already prepared some generic questions about Dr. Roy and the situation as a whole, but I knew that I'd hardly be sticking to the script on this one.
My name is Craig David Rosen.
That's Pat Bauer.
Fabio Sacamano.
What's your relation to this situation?
There's very little confidence in our superintendent, Dr. Alicia Roy, and we feel it would be best if she maybe stepped down and let somebody else take over who can handle the situation better.
Almost every measurable score in the district has been declining over the last 5 years, which coincides with the amount of time that Dr. Roy has been superintendent.
I feel that it has turned into a lynch mob against Dr. Roy. I just feel that parents kind of need to back off a little bit. Dr. Roy, I don't feel is responsible for everything that people are trying to hold her accountable for.
I also want to address the board because some of the members of the board have not handled themselves professionally and appropriately.
We're not preparing kids for the fundamentals that they need to go in and succeed.
We feel that she has not really done the best job for our schools.
She sort of played games with the budget, and she found over the last couple of years $600,000 or $700,000. When she had the opportunity to do something to enhance her math curriculum or a reading curriculum, she instead chose to buy laptops.
Test scores are the lowest in our district reference group.
Special ed, she hired someone as a special ed director who was part of screen rooms.
Teachers are very unhappy. Morale is very low in school.
Misdeploying valuable town assets.
We've given, I think, Dr. Roy many years to try to change the situation, and nothing's changed.
Last year there were 20-something lawsuits or legal actions taken against the town, against the district.
A lot of people I interviewed had some very strong words for Dr. Roy, but not everyone was as hateful.
I think she has done tremendously well. I think that Dr. Roy is currently leading the schools at a very, it's not a great time to be leading them given all the curriculums that are being handed down from the higher ups, issue with the Common Core, and now it's gone. I just think that Dr. Roy, during her tenure, has faced a plethora of issues, and I think that she has held up pretty well.
Fabio, a junior at New Fairfield, seemed to be the single voice of support in a sea of firebrand anti-Roy rhetoric. He even had this to say during the board meeting.
I'm here to express my strong support of Dr. Alicia Roy as our superintendent of schools. My question is, if student morale is truly as low as it is said to be, how could our students have received such prestigious awards? I think this slanderous attack against Dr. Roy, going around on social media and elsewhere, is unfounded.
Even with students like Fabio coming out in support of Dr. Roy, not all of the new Fairfield townspeople were buying it.
I felt he was uninformed.
How so?
I don't think he was only talking about his own experience with Dr. Roy. He was articulate. He was obviously a bright kid. He knows that she rules with an iron fist. Is that a way to run a school?
The meeting of the Board of Education went exactly how one might expect. During public comment, many of the audience members voiced their extreme discontent with Dr. Roy's administration. The head of the teachers' union even presented a majority vote of no confidence in the superintendent from union members. The evening culminated in an emotional speech from Dr. Roy, which was received with suspicion by her opponents. This, in all, signals that the standoff between the Board of Education and the townspeople is far from over. Ben Weiss, LNDH News.
And ladies and gentlemen, now to talk about his experiences at the Board of Ed meeting, our field reporter, Ben Weiss. So Ben, how was your experience here at the Board of Ed meeting? What was it like?
So I've been to a couple board meetings in the past few weeks, past few months, and I've noticed that on the most part they're very largely raucous and rowdy, and it's not something that you'd expect, especially as somebody who doesn't go to a lot of board meetings or other town functions. It's not something that you'd expect to happen. It's not the atmosphere that you'd expect. But I suppose that given the current circumstances and the way that the parents and the town at large feels about the situation, that you might expect that kind of reaction.
Okay, so at the beginning of the video, it said that the board was going to address renewing Dr. Alicia Roy's contract. Unfortunately, they did not actually get to that during the board meeting, and despite the fact that we were told that it was within that day's schedule. Did that create any conflict with your reporting? How did that go?
So I think that the decision to not include the contract renewal in either the executive session or in the public session of the Board of Education meeting was strategic. I'm sure that if they had voted either in executive session, which is prior to the public session, in which they announced the results from the executive session, or during the public session when everyone was there to see it, that the results might have created some controversy. Because I can say personally, not being very connected to the issue, the Board of Ed probably would have renewed her contract, and they knew what kind of firestorm that would stir up. So I think that was a decision on their part to not include it. Did it affect my reporting? Not particularly. I think people were less there to discuss the contract renewal than they were to just continue their protest and their showing of discontent with Dr. Roy.
So why do you think there is such discontent for Dr. Roy that's brewing up within the teachers union and within the townspeople and our community? Why is that?
I think that if you watch the video, there wasn't a very large sample of people that I interviewed, but they pretty much encompassed all of the complaints that people have about Dr. Roy. And it's stuff that, from what I've heard, has been building up for quite some time. And personally, not being very connected to the issue, I've never experienced these things. Do they exist? I'm not discounting the fact that they do and do not exist, obviously. But some of the issues that I hear about are issues with money and with funds and with transparency, issues with connecting with the student body, issues with dealing with teachers. Those three major groups seem to be the largest complaints that people have about Dr. Roy.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your experience at Board of Ed meeting?
I regret that we didn't get to film a lot inside the meeting itself, because I feel like the atmosphere of the meeting would be better expressed through that kind of documentation. There were a lot of interruptions, a lot of rowdy individuals who hijacked board procedure in order to get their point across. Some people just speaking very untowardly towards Dr. Roy. I think that if we had gotten to actually film more of those or give them to the audience, we would have been better off in terms of understanding the kind of the atmosphere within the meetings and within the townspeople.
Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Weiss.